You can grow up for 20 years and never have a book. And you might see a few books at school, but just see them for a few days and that's it. These people now start saying, what the hell is going wrong here? What is happening here? Observing what was going on in Mwanza as a teenager, the first phenomenon that struck me was street children. If you look at society in Tanzania and in Kenya and Uganda, you get a sense that the dice is rolled really well for a few of us, and for the most, you're just stuck where you are. What does it mean for a society to have this sort of situation going on? It's hard maybe in Europe for people to imagine this, but across East Africa, generations have been growing up being told, this is your box. You live within that box. And people are now saying, no, I want to be out of this box. Many people felt that things just happened to them, but they could not make things happen. That in order to be able to make things happen, in order to have control over your lives, you have to be somebody very, very big and very important. The truth was controlled by one entity, the state, the government, sometimes the church, sometimes the rich people, but you suddenly wouldn't speak things in public. What Hakelimu did was turned what was murmured quietly in private domains and put it out open in the public. Put it through media, made advertisements that were broadcast so that millions of people watched it. And they used humor, but they also pointed out the hypocrisy. They pointed out the absurdities of what government was saying. In many ways, the work that I've done for the last 20 years is all about crossing boundaries. The first work I did around children's rights was all about the lines being drawn in terms of, if you're a kid, you shut up, you don't say anything. What you think, what you feel doesn't matter. And the boundaries and lines we were crossing, cultural ones, moral ones, political ones, were all about children being human beings and being treated right. Typically we think politics is only for adults, which is a way of saying power is the reserve of adults. Why? In the old days we used to say power is only for men. Women have made sure that's not the case. In addition to luck and privilege, which also helps very much, it was very much about the imagination. It was very much about ideas. It was hearing stories. It's about spreading ideas. We ask, what is working really well? Imagine a sailing ship. If there's so much wind behind its sail and it's moving, we try to put more wind behind those sails so that it can move faster. So what we do is we say, if mobile telephony works, we piggyback on that. If religion works for people, we piggyback on that. And the other three networks are the fast-moving consumer goods, the shops, the little kiosks, where people, particularly women, buy basic commodities. The other is mass media. We have a proliferation. We went from a situation of a state-controlled television and radio and one newspaper to a situation now where there are, more daily newspapers in Dar es Salaam than all of Netherlands and 2 or 3 other countries put together. We lobbied for and we've succeeded in getting $10 per child per year. But that money was not reaching the schools, and it still isn't. So what do? We enable first we try to have every parent, every student know that this is their entitlement. And for the first time, perhaps in the history of that village, ordinary people were able to hold the local leader accountable and make sure that money was brought back for the kids' school. That story then, of that one village, and those courageous people who made sure the leader was held accountable, gets told on radio. And then we also send an SMS. And then we perhaps make a popular booklet that you can get when you go to your little kiosk, which is a story of people who actually got organized, asked about the money, and made a difference. So suddenly you get courage. Not everybody, but a few. And you start doing it in your community. You fight sometimes, you get beaten up on the head sometimes. I've been arrested, I've been threatened on the phone and threatened in meetings. There are people who've come and said, you should stop this. But those are small things compared to the sense of fulfillment you get. Hivos was one of the first organizations who took a risk on us because they realized that the values that we were fighting for, they realized that underlying it was a core human value that around people wanting dignity and life and freedom. If you are just a local group, it's easier for the authorities to go after you and perhaps close you down. But if you're part of something that's supported globally, they hesitate. They say, if we do this, then there might be a bit of an outcry internationally, and then it'll be embarrassing for next time the foreign minister is there. I think we're now turning around and we are helping Hivos through lessons on the ground, through ideas, through conceptual development, through real practical innovations, bring new fresh thinking to Hivos. But at the same time, because Hivos is globally connected, because it has interesting people with experience, because it has linkages in India and Indonesia and Costa Rica and in Zimbabwe and South Africa and all over, are also able to connect us. Twaweza means we can make it happen. It is possible. We can make a difference.